I am very, very lucky to be joined today with Sam Dabaibeh, a Jordanian-American commentator who, if you didn't see him yet on social media, you should. He's an outspoken advocate for peace, for stronger relations between Israel and Jordan, the US and Jordan, and just such an incredible model for coexistence, for being just articulate, outspoken. And so thank you, Sam. It's good to have you here.
It's my pleasure. I'm a big fan, and hopefully we can propose some ideas that will positively impact the region.
All right, terrific. Thank you. So first of all, just tell us a half a minute about yourself and what vision do you have for Jordan? And I think people should take what you're saying much more seriously because you're in the United States, which means you can speak as freely as you want, and your voice probably echoes the voices of many people inside Jordan who maybe are not speaking as loudly as you are and don't have the same ability to express themselves. So please tell us about yourself and your vision.
Well, I'm a pilot, so not a politician, but I enjoy politics, and I want to see a better country. I think Jordan has so many potentials that we're not reaching because of the current situation. The focus of the country, the focus of the government is very disappointing. The government is more focused on hating Israel than improving the livelihood of Jordanians. In every chance that you see a Jordanian official on media, he's probably talking against Israel and for Palestinian. You never hear them talk about Jordanians. You don't know they represent Jordan or Palestine because of how much they speak about Palestine.
Wow. And how do most I know in Jordan you have many Jordanians who are native Jordanians, many Palestinians. How do the Jordanians in Jordan feel about this sort of hijacking of the daily interests of Jordan?
They're very frustrated, especially after October 7th. One of the funniest thing you could learn about the government in Jordan, if you go to AI now and you ask them, uh, the parliament in Jordan, what is the biggest subject and the most subject they debate? 70% of the time that the parliament talks in Jordan is about Palestine. Imagine 70% of what the parliament is talking about is Palestine. Less than 30% is about Jordan. You got 2% for relationships with Western countries and the Gulf countries, and only less than 24% about Jordan.
Wow.
So you have a parliament that serves another country, another nation. While Jordanians are very frustrated, the economy is bad. It keeps getting worse. There is no hope for a better future. We're now on the right track. So things are bad now, and for the next 5 years, things will be worse if nothing have changed. It's very unfortunate. Jordanians have really changed, especially the last year. They saw what the Palestinians stand for. If your audience remember, last April, a few months ago, the Jordanian government busted three terrorist cells manufacturing suicide bombs, drones, and rockets. And they had two goals. One of them is to attack some buildings for the intelligence agency of Jordan and the military in Jordan. And the other task was smuggling these weapons to attack Israelis in the West Bank. So the Palestinians who live in Jordan, Palestinians abroad, celebrated these guys who wanted to kill Jordanian service members, who wanted to kill the Jordanian military soldiers, were celebrated, treated like heroes by the Palestinian society. And that made the Jordanians feel some type of way.
Wow. And do you think this is something that is supported by many Jordanians, some Jordanians, if the government's doing it and being so obsessively busy with the Palestinian issue instead of the Jordanian interests, do you think that is because people want that or it's for another reason?
Well, you know, the Middle East, what the people want doesn't matter. So the people opinion doesn't matter. But the thing is, it's very profitable to talk about Palestine. If you want to get donations from Qatar, if you want to set up some NGO, if you want to talk about Jordan, no one is paying money. There's no donors talking about Jordan. No one's lobbying Jordan, or no one cares about Jordanians. But if you want to create some NGO discussing Israelis, creating some propaganda against Israel, there's a lot of generous donors. So the profit aspect is very, very, very underreported. You got to keep in mind, UNRWA, the UN, all these agencies, Human Rights Watch, other NGOs, Western NGOs, they don't discuss the Jordanian needs. But there's a lot of money to be thrown if you're talking about Palestinians.
Wow. I mean, I saw the king speaking in the United Nations, and yeah, it was all, you wouldn't even know that he had a country.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, yeah. Even though, and this is very frustrating, the country that's going to get hurt the most if you establish a Palestinian state is Jordan. You have 3 million Palestinians inside Jordan with Jordanian citizenships. If tomorrow we have a Palestinian state in Gaza and the West Bank, they elect Hamas, Hamas is going to win 90% probably. The president of Palestine, which is from the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, goes on TV the first day and he calls for an uprising inside Jordan to coup the king, to coup the government, and to join the Palestinian Authority. Do you think the Palestinians inside Jordan are going to listen to the king or going to listen to the Palestinian president? It's insanity. Israel is more secure against the Palestinian state than Jordan. Jordan is very vulnerable if a Palestinian state was established in the West Bank. This is why all the politicians, all the Jordanian politicians lobbying for a Palestinian state, these guys are traitors. There's no other word to describe it other than traitors.
Wow. And I guess I wish we heard more voices like you speaking out about the interests of Jordanians. I am old enough to remember, it's not that long ago, but after there was a peace agreement with King Hussein, there were a lot of Israelis traveling to Jordan. There was a lot of business. There were actually two crossings between Israel and Jordan.
One the north and one
Yeah,
near Amman.
yeah. And I guess the question is, how do we get more people like you? Are there more people in Jordan who feel the same way?
I started speaking up on October 7th. I saw what happened, and I saw Palestinians in my eyes in San Diego celebrating on October 7th. At that time, the news were about like beheaded babies, people in ovens. It doesn't matter if it happened or not. At the time, people believed that it happened. And all these horror stories about October 7th, I, with my own eyes, saw Palestinians celebrating, dancing. And I said, this is outrageous. And the amount of joyness and happiness, and they were really proud of what Hamas did. And that was the first night of October 7th. I started speaking up. When I started speaking up, every single Jordanian was against me. And I've noticed week by week, I get more, 1% more, 1% more, 1% more. And the reason why, it's not like they saw Hamas as evil or they saw the Palestinians as radical. They changed. The reason why they changed, they noticed that the Palestinians are not in it for a state. The Palestinians want to destroy Israel, and immediately after they destroy Israel, they want to take over Jordan. And this is the Palestinian plan. Any success the Palestinians do inside Israel will translate to a motivation for them to do the same thing in Jordan. If they want to take some land from Israel, next day, if that's success, next target is Jordan.
Wow. I always remember when I go in Israel and I drive along the border with Jordan in the Jordan Valley, there's what's called the triangle border, where you have three countries, Israel,
Syria.
Jordan, and Syria. So as someone who, you know the neighborhood very well, how do you see Syria playing into all of this? Because on the one hand, we see the new Syrian president, Al-Julani, he comes to Washington, he's polished, everyone tries to love him or is very excited about this different future. On the other hand, the Wall Street Journal today has an article about the rise of ISIS in Syria today. I know that what happens in Syria definitely impacts Israel, but it also impacts Jordan. What are your thoughts on the new reality in Syria and how this impacts the neighborhood?
I think Giuliani himself, I think the guy is corrupt. He wants to stay in power. He wants to make a lot of money. I do believe that he's sincere about changing, him personally. Now, everybody under him, you cannot trust these guys. These guys are in it to win. These guys have been fighting for 14 years. They're not going to become plumbers now. And no one is doing jihad for 14 years. After they win, they're not going to go back to have a normal life. Giuliani is telling them, guys, wait until I build an army, then we could go invade other countries. And at the same time, Giuliani is saying, I'm only saying this so I could trick them to stay quiet. We don't know if he's honest or not. I do think that he's sincere about changing, but everybody under him is a radical. Him personally, maybe he doesn't want to attack Suwaida, and I think that's true. And I think he was sincere when he said he doesn't want to enter Suwaida. But everybody under him, inside his organization, want to destroy every single minority. So I think the approach that Israel is doing is very good. Give them hope that you're going to have peace. Give them, talk to them, meet them, but keep your forces there. They respect strength. Notice how the Syrian people are not complaining. You saw a few days ago, the IDF soldiers have met locals in Qanitra and in Dar'a, and they were happy with the Israeli soldiers. There's a famous video of a soldier hugging a Syrian boy and his sister coming and saying, like, carry me too, carry me too.
Wow.
They respect strength. When they say Israel tells them, don't do this or I'll bomb you, when they bomb you, then Syria respected these. So I think the approach that Israel is doing is very successful. You give Giuliani the chance to change, but keep watching him like a hawk.
Wow. There's just so much moving around in that neighborhood. It's amazing to.
And we don't know. A lot of you have a lot of Turkish influence, a lot of Iranian influence could come at any moment. You got to keep in mind, Iran knows a lot of people inside Syria, and these guys are corrupt. They're Sunnis, but they could pay them back again. The same tribes that were allied with Assad, allied with Iran, now they're allied with Giuliani because he's paying them money. And these guys are ready to change and switch for a couple of $1,000.
Wow. A lot of Americans today, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a growing number of Republicans are isolationists, and they say, what do we have to spend so much time or attention on the Middle East? Can you just speak to people who don't understand the importance of the Middle East, or who maybe you agree with them, who are isolationists, what the importance of the Middle East is to the United States of America? How all these different things, Jordan, Syria, Iran, etc., how does that relate to a guy living in Maine, New Hampshire? They're like, why are we even busy with all of this?
The reason why everybody uses the dollar, the reason why YouTube is an American company, the reason why we use Uber, we use Lyft, we don't use the other apps, the reason why the American market, the American companies are everywhere is because the American hegemony, is because America controls the world, is because American military is everywhere. Also, the stock market. The reason why the plumbers here are getting paid $200 an hour, everybody's making good money, everybody's happy, the stock market keeps going up, loans are easy to obtain, the economy is booming, is because the cheaper oil prices, is because the supply chain. If Iran tomorrow bombs the oil refineries in Saudi, the stock market in America will drop 8-9%. 8 million Americans will lose their jobs the next day. The interest rate will go 10%. So many loans going to get defaulted. The economy will crash. Can the American public hold 5% drop in the stock market? I don't think so.
Wow. And so
And these things could get really bad, really ugly, and really quick.
Yeah. Look, I can tell Americans, I can speak for hours about why Israel is important to American interests, the Middle East. But can you speak about the strategic importance of Jordan? Why is Jordan and why is peace with Jordan, good relations between the U.S. and Jordan and Israel and Jordan? Why is that good for the region and good for America?
Well, America needs to stay in Jordan because if it's not there, the thing is, this is what MTG and Tucker Carlson, everybody has to understand. You're actively fighting China. You're actively fighting Iran. If you stop being in one place, the Chinese going to come take it up. And now they're going to create a problem for you there. Imagine if tomorrow Jordan falls under the Iranian control. They start creating terrorist cells that could attack the American corporation bases in Israel and Saudi. And now these companies are losing money. You have to send active soldiers there. Now you have an extra battlefield. You got to go. A lot of money will be lost. A lot of also you could cut if Iran took over Jordan. Now Jordan, Iraq under the control of Iran. You can connect India to Europe. This is going to be a massive hit for the American economy. This is going to be a massive hit for the American consumer. Oil prices will go up. These potential jobs and this potential growth that the American corporations are depending on to make for the losses that they had because of inflation and because of the weaker economy now, it's going to be gone. Then they're going to increase the prices on you.
Wow. We need more people paying attention to what you're saying. Here I am, actually a rabbi, Jewish, and I'm talking to you. You're a young Muslim Arab from the Middle East. And yet at the same time, we're seeing such a radicalization and extremism among young Americans, young Canadian, young British, who say that for Palestine, they're boycotting, they're protesting on campus. How do you see the fact that uh, I have better relations these days with people from Saudi Arabia, from Jordan, from Syria than I can have with some students at Columbia University? How do you see this, the radicalization of young Americans by the Palestinian cause? And how do you explain that the radicalization is not happening in the Arab world as much as it is on the far left?
Because the liberal system and the American economy and the Western economy, the system that we have is too good. People had it too good, so now they have to make fake. They create fake problems. They create this fake challenges that they have to go through. Things are really good. In America, you don't have to worry about anything. Electricity all the time, internet coverage all the time. If you want to start a business, you don't have to bribe anyone. If you there is schools everywhere. There is infrastructure everywhere. There's nothing that you have to wait on to build it. So when you fail, when you're lazy, when you cannot success, you need to blame something. You don't have the challenges and you don't have anything to blame on your laziness because you don't want to confront yourself and say, I'm not successful because of lazy. Now you need to have this like villain who's like, oh, Israel's taking my money. I want to be isolationist because these countries are destroying my jobs. It just they don't have the courage to challenge themselves to admit the reason why they feel bad, the reason why they're not successful is because how lazy they are. Also, we have to be honest. Qatar have run a very successful demonizing campaign against Israel. The thing that they attack Israel on is the same thing that America does, and the same thing that Mexico does. Imagine this. Imagine if a Mexican cartel in Sinaloa kidnapped 100 Americans. The people of Culiacan inside Sinaloa refuse to leave the city, and they protect the Sinaloa cartel. What do you think America is going to say? Do you think America is going to tell the American government not to bomb these people?
Wow.
They will nuke these people. I remember when I was young, my parents will listen to Rich Lamba. I remember the audience asking to nuke every Middle Eastern country after 9/11. This is how the Americans respond. So, but it's too easy. It's very easy to judge the Israelis for being mad, for being pro-war, for not caring about Gaza as much. But let's compare what the American response was after 9/11 to the Israelis. Israelis look like angels compared to this. It's very easy to judge people who feel pain, people who feel threatened too, because the threat to Israelis are active. Every single day, Jews inside Israel have 10, 3, maybe over 5% chance that they're going to face a terrorist attack today. So the nervousness and the condition that your mind in makes you more violent, makes you more, less 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 nice and less charitable for the Palestinian cause. So, but I'm asking these Palestinians, these Americans who think the Israeli people are too radical, or the Israeli people will not think about Palestine. Go read what Americans used to say after 9/11. Read what Americans used to say after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and compare what Americans were saying to what Israelis are doing right now. Zero Americans asked to give aid to Afghanistan in 2001. None of them. Imagine, did America give any aid and food and allowed China and other countries to send food to Afghanistan when they were harvesting Al Qaeda? No, they said bomb these countries. They were ready to attack any Muslim country because how hurt and how nervous they were, and they were shocked. You got a horrible attack like 9/11. People get more sensitive, people get more violent, people get more afraid. So the reaction is not the normal reaction. So I think the American college students have to be more nuanced. And this is the thing why you go to college. You want to be more nuanced. It's very easy to have this response without thinking about everything around the subject. So I think they just need to be a little more smart and a little less lazy and be more nuanced.
First of all, just brilliant and well said and thoughtful, and thank you for that. And you mentioned though Qatar. Qatar has been growing its influence without having even any army, or hardly any army. It's a country, I think, of 300,000 people. Most Americans 5 years ago probably could not name Qatar as a country. They just wouldn't know it's a country. And yet we're seeing Qatar being an increasingly impactful player in the region, often in a pretty cynical way. We see them bribing people around the world in a breathtaking way. Frankly, I've never seen something like that. How do you see the role of Qatar in the Middle East? Is it this sophisticated peacemaking statesmanship? Is it a snake oil salesman? What's going on? Why are they having such an impact? And what is their goal?
I don't think it's Qatar as much of as the Muslim Brotherhood. You have to keep in mind in 1996, the Prince Hamad did a coup, took over his dad.
This is
The
in just let me just
Qatar.
process this. In Qatar, Prince Hamad had staged a coup.
Yeah, against his dad. He didn't allow his dad to come back to Qatar. His dad stayed in Italy. This is Tamim's dad.
Wow.
So this guy, when he took over, now Qatar, he needs a story. He needs something to keep him in power because now he kicked out his dad. How that looked
Wow.
bad, especially for a country that was 200,000 people at the time.
This is the
50,000.
Emir of Qatar?
This is Tamim's dad, the one before him. This is the one who built Al Jazeera. This is the one who made
Wow.
Qatar, because Qatar was founded in 1971.
So
So
the
this guy
Emir's
comes,
dad kicked his father out.
yeah, yeah. His
Wow.
dad was in Italy. He told him you cannot come back. He did this coup, and uh, and then he brought Al Qaradawi, which is a massive scholar in Egypt, very radical Muslim Brotherhood one, and he struck a deal. He said, "Look, I don't have people now. My people are the Muslim Brotherhood." He brought these Muslim Brotherhood into Qatar, and then Al Thani family, this royal family, their army. This is why I disagree with you. Their army is the Muslim Brotherhood. They're funding all their projects. There is no Muslim Brotherhood project that Qatar is not funding. There is no different. There is no different in positions between the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatar. The reason why Hamad stayed in power, the reason why Saudi is not taking over Qatar, is because this alliance between the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatar. And when in 2017, when MBS wanted to take over Qatar, and the people of Qatar wanted Saudi to take over, the two biggest tribes in Qatar, they denounced their Qatari citizenship. One of them took a UAE citizenship, and the tribe leader took a UAE citizenship. The other took a Saudi citizenship, and they had 150,000 people, Qatari citizens, protesting to join Saudi. At that time, you saw Turkey getting involved. They sent soldiers there, and MBS could not take over militarily, not because of the Qatari soldiers, because of the Turkish soldiers. The majority of the Qatari people want to become Saudis. They want to be under Al Saud family. But Hamad knew that. That's why he joined Muslim Brotherhood. And now Qatar is just a front state for the Muslim Brotherhood project.
And you're telling me that inside Qatar there are still many people who would rather be citizens of Saudi Arabia, the UAE.
They kicked out 60,000 people in 2018.
Really?
After the biggest tribe leader there, Qahtan, the second tribe, Yam, both of the tribe leaders disowned the Qatari citizenship. One took an Emirati citizenship, one took a Saudi citizenship. They got deported outside of the country. Then the majority of the people from their tribe migrated to Saudi and UAE. And the most famous Qatari poet, this guy was the symbol of Qatar. He left to UAE 2017 and took an Emirati citizenship because he did not want to stay under Tamim's rule. He did not want to stay under this Muslim Brotherhood rule. And the reason why, Bedouins are not as religious. And Bedouins thought it was very insulting that the people are running the show inside the country are Egyptians and Turks and Iranians and people from all over the globe taking over this country, which is a Bedouin country, no more. Now you have everybody inside the government who's not a Qatari. There is no citizens inside the government. It's completely an international organizations that hire people from the Muslim Brotherhood from all over the place. Some from Syria, some from Jordan, some from Egypt, some from Morocco. That's why it's too strong. Qatar made a deal. The royal family there made a deal with the Muslim Brotherhood, and this is their base. This is their headquarters.
I guess to me and other people who are not as familiar as you, the question is then, how is it possible that this country, which is a Muslim Brotherhood country, is also a major U.S. ally? there's an American army base there. You wouldn't expect that at a Muslim Brotherhood installation. Uh, how do you explain that?
Well, the Muslim Brotherhood is not like ISIS. The Muslim Brotherhood is more sophisticated. They have a good relationship with the Democrats. They have a good relationships with the liberals. These guys are educated. The Muslim Brotherhood does not believe in direct violence like Al Qaeda and ISIS. They believe in taqiyya, which is like, you lie, you deceive, and you reach power by these ways. They have so many lawyers, especially in the international court, especially in the UN organizations. They actually see this as a form of jihad. One of the form of jihads they have to go to Brussels, to go to Scandinavian countries, to go to European countries, have their sons there to study at these colleges and to infiltrate these countries. And they're more liberal than Al Qaeda, so they don't have a problem with hijab. They don't have a problem with these things, but they want to establish an Islamic caliphate. They say, look, these small minor things, we don't have to worry about now. After we establish the Islamic country, we could enforce the laws. And Al-Qaradawi, which is the biggest Muslim Brotherhood imam, he passed away a few years ago, but he was in Qatar, based in Qatar, and he was the mufti of Al Jazeera. In 2027, he made a fatwa. He said, look, if you're sending your kids to college or school outside in the West, and they force them to sit with girls, or they force their girls to swim with boys, it's allowed for you to let your kids do this as long as they could join these colleges and get a degree, then serve Islam after they finish.
Wow.
So these guys are more open-minded. They're really smart and CARE. You see CARE. CARE is an American organization.
Yeah.
They have so much influence inside the Democratic Party. So this is why Qatar is very strong. They want to build a relationship with all the countries. They also have a good relationship with China, even though that they have even though that they're persecuting the Uyghur. But they see it as justifiable because every mean necessary. If you got to deal with the Communist Party, you could do it. If you got to deal with the Democrats, with the Republicans, you have to do it. So they're more sophisticated. They're not as basic. That's the difference between Qatar and the other Gulf countries.
Now, just for maybe I'm naive, after Israel bombed Hamas leadership in Qatar, you saw many countries visiting, and you saw strong statements from Saudi Arabia, other countries. I guess my question is, are the countries in the region coming closer to Qatar, or is it just sort of on the surface, but there's still actually strong opposition to Qatar in the region?
I think the Arab mind does not comprehend Israel. Arabs do have these like conspiracy theories. Even the smart, educated people in the government, they still think Israelis are too strong and they're going to destroy them, and Israelis want to take over, and they want to take over all the region, and they want to kick all the Arabs and Muslims out. So they do have this irrational fear. So this irrational fear made them come closer together.
Wow.
That what made Saudi go to Iran, because the Saudis really thought that Netanyahu will bomb them, and they believe this. So when they see Smotrich talking about let's take over Saudi, they don't see this as a just talk. No, they think it's Jews are coming together, doing this plan. They're planning. This is going to happen. They control the world. They're going to take over our country. They do have an irrational fear from Israel. It's incredible how unreasonable they are.
Yeah, no, and unfortunately, the people like Smotrich, Ben Gvir sort of feed these fantasies and these fears because.
If a Chinese person comes and say the same thing, they're not gonna have the same reaction. Americans come, they say Trump says the same thing, they don't believe them, But they have this irrational fear of Jews that they believe these things. They do believe that the Rothschilds are running the world, and if they want something to happen, it's gonna happen. So this irrational fear do push them to do these unreasonable things.
All right. Sam, just I guess with all this going on, do you have hope? How do you see things going forward? Do you see anything changing for the better? Do you see more relations, more connections established between Israel, Jordan? Do you see the Abraham Accords being expanded?
The Abraham Accords will expand 100%. I studied high school in Saudi. 70% of Saudis love Israel, and they're anti-Palestine. And this is from my personal experience. I know Saudis are very good people, and the youth is very pro-Israel, and they really dislike Palestine. And I could tell you, the average Saudi is pissed at the government for keep demanding a Palestinian state. They don't like that.
Wow.
Uh, the thing is, with Syria, I think Israel is going to have a good relationship, either with the Sunnis and the Druze. I'm very optimistic about it because the people of Syria, regarding Julani, the actual citizens of Syria, they normalize with Israel.
Hmm.
Syrians do not have a problem with Israel as a people. Some of the groups supported by Turkey, they still hate Israel, but 70% of Syrians will be okay with Israel very, very, very soon. So I'm optimistic about this. In Jordan, the reason why you don't hear voices like me, they get arrested. I organized a protest against Hamas last February. 10,000 people showed up, and this is
Wow.
down up. So this is grassroots. People are doing this even against the government. One of the speakers said the safety of Israel is the safety of Jordan, which is a true statement, a very factual statement. Some
This
a
was in
person was,
Jordan you did this?
yeah, that was in Jordan. Over 10,000 Jordanians showed up. One of the speakers said that, and people were listening on live stream. They cut this part. The Muslim Brotherhood and the media inside Jordan, which is controlled by Palestinians, spread this video everywhere. All the speakers got arrested.
Wow.
There is no law banning you from talking to Israel. We have peace in Israel.
Yeah.
So the arrest was just intimidation to scare people off from being pro-Israel. And this is the problem. If you say anything positive about Israel and Jordan, you get arrested. Today, they disbarred a lawyer, a Jordanian lawyer. They disbarred him, took his license away because he represented an Israeli company completely legally. This Israeli
Wow.
company owned businesses in Jordan. They need a lawyer on the book. They
Wow.
just put his name. It was not. It was no case. It was just like some of the
What's his
requirement.
name?
Ali Shedat.
Hmm.
That's a lawyer's name. He went to Israel TV today, and he spoke in multiple Israel TV channels. But this guy got disbarred. His license got taken away for no reason, just because he had an Israeli client.
Wow.
Completely ridiculous. The head of the union took his license, is a radical Palestinian, and he did it without. There is no justification for what he did. Israel
Yeah.
has a peace deal with Jordan. What he did was completely legal. This Israeli company has $50 million invested inside Jordan.
Wow.
Completely ridiculous. But the reason why they did it, and this is why Israelis have to understand, Palestinians have massive fear from Jordanians contacting Israelis. If Jordanians and Israelis build bridges, they start talking to each other, Palestinians know this is not going to be good because this is going to push Jordanians to be more pro-Israel because we have a lot of common interests. The only country that will benefit from strong Jordan is Israel. So the head of the union wanted to take this guy license to scare every other Jordanian from contacting Israel. So they want to make him
Like a
an
scapegoat.
example for everybody else
Yeah.
not to contact Israel. I'm really hoping he gets his license back. I saw Israeli media talking about it today. I hope the Israeli government pressure Jordan to stop this bullshit because it's unfair. The guy did not break the law. The guy did not. He was so shocked that he got disbarred because you have thousands of Palestinian lawyers representing Arab Israelis who have an Israeli citizenship.
Right.
No problem happening, But the
Wow.
reason why this reaction happened because this guy is from tribe. His tribe is a big tribe. He's well respected, and he's normalizing that a Jordanian could reach out to Israeli, and this scares the Muslim Brotherhood and scares the Palestinians inside Jordan.
Wow. Sam Dabaibeh, just so much information, such brilliant insights, and most importantly, such an optimistic view, such a love for coexistence, for peace. I hope we get to hear from you many, many more times.
We want a more than coexisting. We want true partnership for Syrians, Jordanians, Iraqis, Saudis. We have the best weather in the whole earth. We have the best history. Our cities are the oldest in the whole
Whole world.
entire world. We have so much potential. We just need to come together, and we have the best minds. We have raw materials. We have oil. We have all the stuff we need to be more successful than any other nation. Forget about China. Forget about the West. The Middle East, there was that.
Wow. Yeah, I remember driving up the Jordan Valley, and you look at Jordan, and it's so close and so far at the same time. You sort of will never
I'm
be
very
there.
optimistic about the future. I'm very optimistic about the future.
Wow.
The youth in Jordan support my content.
Wow.
They all love when I normalize this. You could talk to Israeli media. Before I started making videos, it was a taboo for Jordanian to go on Israeli TV. You would never see a Jordanian on Israeli TV. The first time that I went to Israeli channel, the Muslim Brotherhood attacked me. I did not back down. I doubled down. I told Jordanians, look, I'm going to Israeli TV to send your voice. You guys are always mad because Smotrich and Ben Gvir say Jordan is Palestine. The only way to convince Israelis that Jordan is not Palestine is for us Jordanians to reach out. Let's build the bridges. They tried to do peace with us in 1994. We did not do anything back. Now it's our turn as Jordanians to initiate peace, to initiate building bridges with Israel. And I think only good could happen from this.
Amen to that. Yes, thank you. I second that, and we would it would be an amazing thing. I can tell you that, except for Smotrich maybe, but
Oh no, he will be happy
98%
too.
of
Trust me. No,
Israelis,
he will. Look,
98% of
I don't
Israelis
blame
would
him.
be very
I don't
happy.
blame him. I don't blame him because when the rhetoric from Jordan is all about against Israel, when the foreign minister of Jordan doesn't talk about anything other than how bad Israel is, it's a normal response. The Israeli says they always comment about in 2024. Smotrich used the map, the first draft of
Yeah,
the
I remember that.
amended.
Yeah.
I told Jordanians, you guys don't have the right to complain about this because literally inside Jordan, every single map of Palestine is the full map.
Oh,
So
yeah.
as long as we do it to Israelis, we cannot ask them not to do it back. And I think this is what Israelis have to do. On you guys give more. You guys always tolerate more from the Arabs, and I think Israelis tolerate us. We should tolerate them too.
Thank you. Inshallah, we should have peace soon. Thank you, Sam
Hopefully,
Dabaibeh. And I can tell you for sure, I hope to speak to you again and have you on here again.
we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.